Welcome, everyone, to the Hire My VA Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank. And that means your bank, which is the most important bank. Other than, for me, it's my bank, but for you, it's your bank. Hey, I'm Dave Braun, and I'm here with my partner and fantastic business mentor, coach, but my great friend, partner in this, and in crime, everything else, right?
That's
So
right.
Thank you, Larry, for being my good friend. And, we have a great group of guys we get together with on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
It's just an honor, and it's just fun. Thank you.
Hello, handsome Dave. I love you. Glad we're on life's journey together. Thank you for being so supportive of me over the years. You, my friend, have been by my side through some of my peaks and valleys, and I love you for that. Thank you for
You're welcome.
steadfast.
That's what we're called to do for each other, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Got to do it.
Right. Hey, folks, if you don't have somebody like that in your life, we need to talk because you need somebody like that.
Yeah.
It's life's traveling companion.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's go. What are we talking about today? We got a question
for the week.
Right.
Yeah, we do. Right. We have a good one. Okay.
All right.
Continuing in our top 3 series.
Yeah.
And we may skip a week here or there, but these are pretty powerful ones. So look for the top 3 when you're searching. So What are the top for this week? What are the top 3 things someone should do to prepare themselves to hire a person? And I'm not just talking about someone who's going to be virtual, right? Just to make a hire in general.
Well, listen, I think it's whether you are hiring a virtual person or someone who's going to be working side by side in your office. I believe it's the same thing. And wouldn't you know, Dave, funny enough, we start the program, the Hire My VA program out with this. It's the prepare section of the Hire My VA program.
Yeah.
I think, Dave, that if we're not crystal flipping clear on what our vision is, what our mission is, and what our core values are, we're selling ourselves and our potential short. These are really important to have developed. And they're not just great or important to hire great team members to attract people to you, but also to attract clients to you, to attract investors to you, to attract potential partners to you. But it's also a great way to weed out people that you don't want in your organization. If you talk about your vision, mission, and values publicly, there may be people say, I don't want to work for an organization like that. And believe it or not, it does really separate the wheat from the chaff. However it is you decide who is the wheat part, right? So I think it works a couple of different ways. But I would say that's number 1 right there. Be crystal clear on what your vision, mission, and core values are. And wouldn't you know, we actually help people with that program.
Funny you say that. Huh?
That's right.
That's interesting.
Funniest thing. Would you agree with that's one of the top ones?
Oh yeah, because you're setting up your foundation for success. And the good thing about that number 1 is, and while you want to tweak it as time goes,
of course,
once you do it, you get the hard work done, and it's there for a long time.
Well, we have one of these things called the dynamic business plan for growth, right? Where we identify these things, understanding that some things will morph over time. Your core values, if you really spend some time and define them, those are you're not going to compromise those, right? But using, Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, and identifying what your vision is for the organization or your mission, that might change a little bit. But this is why organizations like 3M might have started out as a mining company, but now they do basically office products, right? But their core values remain the same. So yes, your vision may change over time. Your vision may change, your mission may change, but your core values ought to remain steadfast. Yeah. But we help you define all of that with this program. So don't fear. If you're just getting into the program and say, oh my gosh, I'm not even close to that. Well, that's what the prepare section of this course is about. And if you're like me and you like quick starts, we do have a quick start section in you, and we'll give you 80% of the meat in 20% of the time. That's built for you.
That's right. Okay.
Do you have a second one, Dave, that might work, that you think might be top 3? I'll bet you do, knowing you.
I do. Now, okay. Of course, this is going to seem obvious, right? But it's important to say, be clear on who and what you actually need.
That's not obvious, Dave.
People
for a
come
lot
in,
of
they
people, we
think it's
hear it.
obvious, right? It seems obvious, but
I disagree with you. I'm going to
it,
respectfully disagree. I think we have a lot of people who come to the program. They know they need help, but they don't know what areas they need help with.
well, and let me clarify. They
Okay,
think
good.
they know. They think
Yes,
they
that's
know
true.
what they need. That's
Yes.
I think that's what
There
I'm
you
at.
go. There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
people come in and they think they need, this type of person to do this or this or this.
That's
But
right.
if they can go through the exercises and really see what's bogging them down, it could be the same person, but there's going to be some tweaks.
Yes.
There's definitely going to be some tweaks.
Yeah.
And when you go through some of the stuff that we've got to prepare yourself about who you and what you're going to need to get,
Mm-hmm.
that's also setting you up long term, because that will help you for your next one. Because if you're anything like us, if you're anybody like us, you're not going to want to stop with one, right? You're going to want to get more.
How often have we seen that? Somebody starts the program, they want to hire one VA, and next thing you know, they got 4, and they're killing it. Right?
We've got a guy in our community right now that's just killing it, right, with all of his VAs.
Yeah. So you had mentioned exercises. All right. So where do they find these exercises, or are there examples that you've got that can help people identify where they might need help?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different ways depending upon how you want to do it. We call it the 6-pack action guide, and we've also got the 3-column exercise where you write down everything that you are doing. And we don't want to give it away, do we?
You can give them a 30,000 foot perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's basically you write down everything that you're doing, and you say, okay, here's the stuff that I'm great at. Here's the stuff I love, and here's the stuff that I hate. Right.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you hate, that's what you need to start with and give away. Mm-hmm. You really need to do that, because one of the reasons that you're in the business is you want to create freedom, but that freedom is not necessarily just getting money. That freedom is freedom of thought, freedom of enjoyment. You want to enjoy your business as much as possible. So it means you need to, for sure, move as much into working in your strengths as much as possible. And the only way to do that is to start getting rid of the stuff that you hate and doing more of the stuff that you love.
Dave, you just reminded me, one of the most powerful messages that I think that you give over and over again. I know you're not the one who came up with it, but you do tell people about this. It's like, don't build a business that you resent.
Yeah, my mentor has said that to me. Nathan Ingram. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is what we try to do here with this. These action guides and worksheets that we give folks, is that if there are things in your business that you're not great at, or that you don't love, or they just suck your lifeblood, or you procrastinate on it, it's probably because you're just not good at it. And believe it or not, there are people out there in the world who would love to do that kind of stuff. And I have found oftentimes, Dave, in my career, that I don't realize how much emotional energy I'm putting into these things I don't like until I finally get it off my plate.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a burden we carry around when we're like that, right? So I think that's a really good one, Dave. So we hit number 1 and number 2. So anything else you want to talk about?
Well, number 2, though.
Number 2?
Yeah, number 2 is you hit on what I think is a false belief.
What's that?
A false belief is that if I hate it, that means to do it, everybody else is going to hate it.
That's right. Yeah.
That's absolutely not true. Some people just love doing things that you hate, and vice versa, right? They will hate what you love.
Yeah.
Right? So don't worry about that. The idea is identify them and work towards getting them off your plate. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Okay. Well, Larry, do we have a number 3?
Well, the third one that comes to mind for me is one of those things that is you just get better at it with time and with practice. And that is interviewing style.
Yeah.
But I've witnessed interviews. I've been in interviews before where people they're all over the board and they never really get to the point, or they've got this preset list of interview questions that they're going to ask somebody and they don't deviate from it. But I think once you do the 3-column exercise and the 6-pack, and you identify, okay, here are all the things that I would be more productive in my time if I got this off of my plate, then you can develop both hard and soft skill questions around those techniques or around those skill sets that you're looking for with someone. So I would go in with a list of specific questions, and then have some kind of optional
Yeah.
some optional questions that should a conversation go down that path, then you can chase the rabbit for a little bit. I'm not a big fan of questions or interviews, Dave, where I've got my 10 questions I'm going to ask and I don't deviate from those. That's more of an interrogation to me. But I would also suggest that during this interview, be open to the candidate asking you questions as well.
Oh, that's a great
right. And additionally, if you are not under the gun to get someone hired and you have gone through the prepare section of the program, this is the time to be sharing, or I prefer it even before the interview process, like it's part of the position profile or the job description, is that you share your vision, mission, and core values with the person. What's the organization really like? And ask them, hey, have you read this? Do you understand this? Do you have questions about this?
Yeah.
And that might actually start an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, and one of the things too, I think we need to talk about is, like some of the specific questions, right? And I think one of the things that you've pointed out to me in the past is, somebody, if they may have a little bit of a hard time talking, right, about some of these other questions, like when was like the last book you read, maybe you ask that, or if you say, hey, tell me about a time when you challenged your boss, what happened? Maybe they have a little bit of hard time talking about that. Mm-hmm. But if you ask them a question on their resume, like about a project they did, and they don't talk, that's trouble, right? That's something that they should know the best. They should be able to talk, in some details about that, assuming that it's, something relatively recent. Now, if you're asking them about a project they did 5 years ago, well, they may not be able to remember the greatest,
Yeah.
So,
additionally, Dave, I think there are some folks who just don't interview well, and you need to ask yourself, is this person going to be filling a role where they have to interview well, or they have to communicate effectively to the public? Right. They certainly need to communicate effectively with you and the team members that they're working with, should there be other team members they're working with. But I would say sometimes you just have to offer grace, because we need to remember, some of these VAs that we'll be hiring, English will be a second language. Mm-hmm. You may be hiring them from a culture where there's a very high level of respect and almost reverence towards a business owner or a boss. And so there's a much higher level of hierarchy. That's not proper English, I'm sure, but there's a more pronounced hierarchy than here in the U.S. Many organizations, although it's arguable, depending on who you're following or talking to on YouTube, the truth of the matter is it's a more flat organization here in this country than in some other developing and frontier countries, for sure. True. In the business arena. True. So you need to just be aware of that.
Yeah. So that's one of the great things about our program. We've got a whole detailed guide on this to give you some,
True.
Give you some questions. And one of the things that we have also in some of those questions is, what should you expect from somebody, so that you understand when you're asking this question, what is it that they should kind of come back to you with?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the important questions are the soft area, the hard area, and then we talked about the specific questions.
Should we talk about the difference between soft questions and hard questions?
Well, do you have time?
Well, we could take a couple minutes, sure.
Yeah.
How would you define soft skill questions?
Well, we kind of alluded to that a little bit. So we said like soft questions are kind of like how they would potentially approach a problem or behave in certain ways. Like one example that I wrote down was, and I think I mentioned it somewhat like this. Tell me about a time when you had to challenge your boss. How did you approach it, and what were the results? Right.
Yeah.
And then of course, when you're asking those kind of questions, you want to try to get into them coming up with a situation that they actually went through and did it. If that type of a question is important to you, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of how I would categorized as soft question. And when I say soft, it doesn't mean less important.
No. And soft might also be interpersonal skills, communication styles, those types of things as well.
Yeah.
A hard question or hard skill question is more about like use of a specific tool or hardware or something that they've gone to school, a technical thing that they're actually going to be doing in their job. So that's what we're talking about, between hard and soft skills.
Yeah. And so those, like in our program, of course, we've got, a whole bunch of soft questions. We've got, we don't really have specific questions because those are supposed to come from your, looking at somebody's resume.
Yeah.
And so the hard questions is you kind of almost have to come up with those on your own, depending upon the area. Like you said, it's specific to that position. But I think we still have some.
We got you. We do. There's samples in there.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so that's really the top three. We don't have a bonus this time, do we?
I don't have a bonus. This is good.
I don't have
This is enough to get folks going, man.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Just remind you that be clear on what your vision, mission, and core values are. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, be really clear on what you need, what you're hiring for. This is why we do the 3-column exercise. And number three was be prepared with specific questions and be a little bit flexible in your interview. If there's an important topic that you feel like or direction that the interview is going, go with it for a little bit. Here's a bonus. Here's a bonus that came to me. I would videotape your interviews, right? Make sure that they get a copy of it. I don't see why you wouldn't want to. But one of the things that we've done, Dave, also is we have had folks as part of the application process is submit video answers to the application stuff. So there's a couple of bonuses right there.
Yeah, that'll cut things down for sure. Yeah. I think it's really important that you record your interviews. And of course, when you do that, make sure you ask their permission.
That's right.
To record it. But the nice thing about it is, and this has happened to me, Larry, is that when I had to hire a couple of folks and I had to choose between a couple and I had to actually go back to the video, watch and listen. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Right. And this will help me make the decision because you're going to interview hopefully more than, 3 or 4 or 5 folks. You might interview that many and they're going to start to blend together.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
Yeah. Well, here's one other bonus. And we have had people make this mistake. They have such a these people going through the program, they have such a low opinion of themselves or their business. Like, who would ever come work for me, that they hire the very first person they interview.
Oh,
do not do that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Go to the community, my friends. So reach out to us.
So I guess then I guess, Larry, this is, the top 3 things for preparing, right? So I think we could sum up this bonus in get your mindset correct.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
For interview.
That's good.
Right. Get your mindset right.
That's good.
And of course, if you're in the community, you can ask us questions on how to do that. Right. We got some great recordings on it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
No, this is good.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this fun episode. It's fun to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But remember, building a team is the way to reclaim your freedom, and we are here to help you. So, but 3 things right now we'd love for you to do, and we'd really, really appreciate it. You'd have our undying gratitude.
Yes.
Number 1, subscribe to the podcast. Number 1, if you haven't already done so. Number 2, give us a rating. We'd love it if you give us a 5-star, but leave a comment below this video. Any comment, because it'll help us get the word out, put us up into YouTube's rankings. And so that will help us get the word out more. And then number 3, the third thing is go to HireMyVA.com for the latest information on our course and community, other things that we have to offer, because remember, even without experience, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. And Larry and I have helped a lot of folks, and we'd love to help you too. So just go to HireMyVA.com for more information.
That's right. And folks, if you're part of the program, either the Victory program or the HireMyVA program, or any of the programs we're running, don't forget the monthly calls that we do. Currently, we're doing twice a month. Sign up for those, participate in the community. We are hearing powerful testimonials from folks who are participating in those. But, do the world a favor, do yourself a favor, go do something absolutely significant today. All right. God bless you. God keep you. God hold you. All right, my friends, go get them.
All right. Take care.
See you later. Bye. See ya.